sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What up, what up? What's up, folks? What up, what up? How y'all doing? Howdy. What up, what up? What up, what up? Strike a pose. Strike a pose. What up, what up? Oh my god, my dorky ass. I'm sorry, I like to be silly. So what up, folks? How y'all doing? Howdy. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. So y'all know me, every time I come up here is because I want to talk about something very important or interesting or funny or silly or whatever. But today actually I want to talk about a very, very important subject or topic. But before I dive into today's topic, I want to show you, usually I give you an educational background or informational background about all my metal t-shirts or my metal band t-shirts. So today I'm rocking. Today I'm rocking Cradle of Filth. Cradle of Filth. Cradle of Filth is a British band. It's a British black metal band from England, and they were formed. That's my attempt, my lame attempt to British accent, which I don't have. I'm pretty good at Spanish, like Latin accents. Like I know how to imitate people from different countries in Latin America and even Spain. But when it comes to like other accents, I suck. I'm not good at it, but whatever. I want to try to do my British accent. Anyway, oops, my crimes. Anyway, Cradle of Filth, it's an English band, and they formed in 1991, and their original format it was black metal. But they with time they evolved into this very well groomed, well produced black metal slash gothic symphonic metal. And they are quite controversial, not only because of their theatrics and imagery and makeup and really dark, scary, gory makeup and costumes and props and stuff like that, but they're very controversial within the metal community because they're considered to be like sellouts, like mainstream, like very commercialized metal band. Like other black metal bands actually reject Cradle of Filth. They don't consider them part of the metal community because in the black metal, the real hardcore underground black metal community, you're not supposed to become this like super mainstream, well groomed, perfectly produced, kind of like clownish theatrical type of band. You're supposed to keep black metal underground and mysterious and secretive and it's all about social issues. It's a form of protest, protesting against social social problems and against the Catholic Church or any type of Christian denomination. So it's it's quite funny because I remember back in the day I used to kind of hang out with have friends like that were like hardcore metalheads, and they hated Cradle of Filth because they were not a real black metal band. They were just a sellout, like clownish fake posers, just pretend to be black metal, but they were not. And I'm like, no, they're black metal. There's just, they added extra stuff. So it seems a little theatrical, which it is. Actually, most black metal bands are theatrical and they put a lot of makeup and stuff. But they seem a little bit more, yeah, like very well groomed and well produced. So, that's why they became so popular, so famous because, and they came out of, from the undergrounds and became so famous and popular is because the way they produce themselves, and they accommodate, their theatrical and their makeup and their costumes. But anyway, I'm totally digressing. So Crater Fields are pretty cool. I love them. I've seen it a couple of times in concert. I think they're badass. I don't care what hardcore. I'm a metalhead, but I'm a very open-minded metalhead. I don't care what other metalheads say, that they suck and they're sellouts and they're not a real metal band. Well, they are. They're pretty, actually very they're very talented, and I love their style. It's pretty unique, actually. So they're like a black metal, gothic, symphonic metal band now. But anyway, enough. I'm going to show you. So this t-shirt, it says Cradle of Filth, and you can see these are priests or bishops or whatever, they're Catholic clergy. And this woman here, they're sacrificing her. It's called Hammer of the Witches. So what that means, this is like a modern representation of the Inquisition. If you guys know what the Inquisition was, it was when the Catholic Church went on a witch hunt and started like claiming that certain women, if women, had certain skills, or which back in the day was, you could be just an herbalist, you could just believe in herbal, study or know about herbs, and you could be considered a witch, or even without doing anything. If someone said they saw you doing weird stuff or acting weird, they would accuse you of being possessed or being satanic or worshiping the devil, and they would accuse you of being a witch, and they would believe it, and they would torture you and burn you. It was quite brutal, really horrible stuff. So I know this t-shirt, I loved it because I was like, you know what, that's a modern representation of Inquisition. And the modern representation it's about women's bodies, how we keep being oppressed, how not only society and the government and church, and church are trying to oppress us and keep us under control. They want to control our bodies when our bodies are our bodies. It's no one else's business. So yeah, so just one more time, Cradle Field t-shirt is badass. I love it. I love it. Pretty gory and graphic, but it's the truth. Hammer of the Witches. Anyway, so enough with Cradle Filth and the educational or informational background about this British black metal band. So now I want to talk about today's subject. So today's subject is, what's empathy and what's codependency? What's the fine line? What's the difference between being an empath and being codependent? What's the fine line that divides empathy from codependency? So I want to talk about that today because it's something that it's quite pervasive. It happens a lot. It's quite common. A lot of people experience that and they don't even know it. Moi, I used to be one of these people. I used to be one of these people. So, with time and throughout the years and a lot of studying and doing research and therapy and all this stuff, I learned, that I used to be one of these folks. Not anymore. I mean, I'm still an empath, but I'm not a codependent anymore. I'm a recuperated or rehabbed codependent. Get some water. Okay. So what's empathy? What's an empath? So the difference between empathy and codependency. So empathy, it's when you are a highly sensitive person. You can feel, you can perceive people's energies, and you can read their body language, their tone of voice. you can feel their emotions. So it's when you can mirror, you can perceive. You're so sensitive that you perceive any little changes, any little subtle, type of emotions and body language. You notice that because you're a highly empathic person, and observational, probably observational too, like I am. So, for example, it's when you are in tune, not only with your own emotions and in your own feelings, but you are in tune or attune, like highly attuned, uh, around about your surroundings. You're attuned to other people's emotions and energies. That's what an empath is. Codependent or codependency is when, yes, you're highly sensitive as well, and you are able to feel what other people are feeling. You can tell, you can perceive their emotional state of mind, and you can perceive their energy and the emotions, yet you act on, you come from a place of fear, from a place of preoccupation, from a place of how do I say this? From a place of discomfort, and you are not, you kind of lose touch with your own emotions. So you want to regulate yourself, or regulate your emotions through others' emotions. So, for example, when you're an empath and you walk into a room, you can tell, like, which people, yeah, which person is having a rough day, or they're feeling uncomfortable, or they're happy. Like, you can feel, you can total empathy is when you put yourself, you can not only feel others' emotions, but you can put yourself in someone else's shoes and totally understand and feel that. I just wanted to clarify that, to add that to that definition. But like an example of being an empath is when you walk into a room and you're like, oh shoot, and you feel this shift of energies. You can tell, okay, that person is doing okay. That person is doing. That person looks uncomfortable. Looks kind of weird. That person looks sad. Looks tired. Or you go into like a store and you can tell. You can feel the cashier's energy. You can feel like, oh, this lady, she seems like she's having a rough day, or she has like a heavy energy. She's probably sad, anxious, preoccupied, etc. So that's what like being empathetic is. That's what empathy is. Meanwhile, codependency comes from a place of, we want to fix things because we feel that uncomfortable. Like, okay, I want to go back in the beginning because I think I started from the end, and I should have started from the beginning. So, first of all, in one of my prior videos, I talked about our innate temperaments, like how we are born, we're genetically predisposed for our temperaments. We are born with a certain type of temperament that we inherit from our parents or grandparents or whatever. And that's going to determine how, our personalities, our characters, how, how we, our personalities and our characters later in life. Of course, you have the nature versus nurture type of situation where, your environment, which is your nurture, is going to mold and activate and develop your nature, which is your predisposition, your genetic predispositions. So, for example, if temperament has a lot to do with that, but also it's called attachment theory, and it was created by a psychiatrist and psychoanalyst called John Bowlby. So this psychoanalyst or psychiatrist in the 60s, he created these attachments. So there's 4 types of attachment. So when he created this theory, he was like, okay, I'm sure he did some experimentation with children, observing them, how they behave in different scenarios with their parents. And he realized, okay, there's like 4 types of attachment styles. And so therefore, according to Bowlby's theory, and one is called secure autonomous. The second is called anxious preoccupied. The third one is dismissive avoidant. And the fourth is fearful avoidant, or AKA disorganized style. So you have secure, anxious preoccupied, dismissive avoidant, and fearful avoidant, or disorganized. So those are the 4 attachment styles. So those attachment styles are templates of how we're going to build relationships in the future, how we're going to develop as in the future as adults, how we're going to be able to build character in our personalities. So these attachment styles influence heavily, or mostly, or almost determine, or almost will determine how we're going to develop as adults, and how we are going to, and our abilities or capabilities to form relationships with other people, friendships, family, romantic relationships, work relationships, etc. So I just wanted to give you an informational background about that, so you have an idea. So you have your innate inherited temperament. Then on top of that, you add the attachment style that you developed as a child with your, primary caretakers. And then, on top of that, whatever your situation was, whatever way you were brought up, whatever your environment was, that's going to determine how you will behave throughout your life. What you think it's normal behavior. Sorry, I'm shedding. I'm shedding like a cat. So why I'm talking about this, because I want you to have an idea where this behavior, this dysfunctional behavior comes from. I want you to have an idea where it comes from. So what's the difference between being empathetic or being empathic and being codependent? What's the fine line that divides these two, empathy and codependency? So empathy is when you are a highly sensitive person, and you're able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You're able to perceive and feel someone else's energy and emotions. You're completely capable. I mean, that's like kind of like I don't want to say it's a skill. I think it's like a natural gift and a curse at the same time. But let's keep it positive. So it's kind of a gift that some people have. Some people are born more sensitive than others, and more able to feel what other people are feeling without even saying a word. We feel people's emotions, we can perceive them, we can totally understand and perceive body language, tone of voice, any little nuance, any little subtle, changes. We feel it, we see it. We're very observant, we're very sensitive to people's energies. So that's being an empath. That's what being an empathic is. And then you have codependency. So what's to be a codependent? So codependency comes from a place of fear. It comes from trauma. We develop that through trauma. It's a coping mechanism. It's a defense mechanism, because we have our sympathetic system, the system that keeps us safe and alert and going. We have the 4 types of responses, and the sympathetic system responses are, we have fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fight, when you're ready to fight, when an imminent impactful, scary, negative event is happening, we humans respond in different ways, in different manners. So one of them is ready to fight. You get ready to fight for your life, to defend your life. The second one is you fly, you take off running for your life, or you freeze. A lot of animals, and the other animals in the animal kingdom do that. They freeze and pretend they're dead, so the predators don't kill them or eat them. You freeze because you don't know. That's your response. You don't do nothing. You just stay there. And fawn. Fawn is the new one. Is the latest one that was added recently. And fawn is when you mimic, when you mirror your environment to protect yourself, to blend in, to camouflage. So fawn, it's people pleasing. It's what codependency is. Where codependency comes from. You always, you put yourself down, you water yourself down, and you please. You mirror people, you fit in, you do everything you need to do in order to not get hurt, to be loved and accepted, and to fit in, to camouflage, to not draw attention to yourself. But especially is people pleasing. That's what fawn is. So I'm explaining you all this so you have an idea where codependency comes from and the difference between being a codependent and an empath. So codependency comes from a place of fear, a place of survival, a place of it's a defense mechanism. It's a coping mechanism that we create in order to survive as children. If you happen to be part of a very toxic and dysfunctional family, dynamic and an environment, as a child, you have to find ways to cope with it, with the pain of invalidation, gaslighting, abuse, neglect, whatever the type of abuse that you go through as a child. Our brains, our bodies are really smart and create these coping mechanisms to protect us from going into shock and dying. So our brains and our bodies are really smart at creating these different mechanisms. So codependency is a type of defense mechanism. And when you're a codependent, you come from a place of fear, like I said, and you have this urge, this huge need to help people and rescue people, but in a way that it's not really healthy. It comes from a place of you want to fix, you want to avoid, you want to please people, you want them to like you, to love you, to accept you. You want to make sure they don't suffer, that you don't want them to feel uncomfortable, to have uncomfortable feelings. And that's the dysfunctional and pathological side of codependency, that a lot of people, they're empaths, or they're empathic like me, moi. That's the line, the fine line that blurs, empathy with codependency. A lot of people that are empathic and they're empaths tend to struggle with codependency, probably because they have some type of, trauma in childhood, and they develop that coping skills. And then, we're good people and we feel people's emotions and we want to help, but then you put yourself in a position of suffering and in a disadvantaged position. You put yourself last. You put your needs you put your needs last. You put yourself last. You put everyone else in front of you. Everyone else comes first. Everyone else is more important. So you neglect your feelings, your emotions, your mental health, and your health in general, and that's no good. That's when it becomes dysfunctional and becomes a pathology. So that's why you have to know the difference between, it's so important to know the difference between codependency and empathy. So it's totally okay to be empathic. It's totally okay to be an empath, and it's a beautiful gift, to be able to feel what other people are feeling and to be in tune with your own emotions and everyone else's emotions. When you're able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, that's a beautiful thing, because you can actually do a lot of good and help people in very functional, healthy ways. You have to remember to always have a boundary. That's the thing. We need to know what's enough. We need to know our limits. Not only our limits, but to limit other people from trying to come to you and take advantage of you and to suck you dry, to suck all your energy out of your body. You always have to make sure, this is one thing I learned. In order, this is a very cliche example. A lot of people use this example. When you're in an airplane, what they tell you in case of an emergency, when the oxygen masks, are released, who is supposed to wear the mask, the oxygen mask first? You. They tell you you're supposed to put the mask on you first, then you can help other people. And that's the thing. In order to be able to help other people, you have to help yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first. You have to take care of your needs and your wants first. Your mental health, your general health. You have to make sure you're healthy, you're happy, you're fulfilled, you're in peace, and you have abundance. You have to make sure you have to make sure that your cup runneth over. You have to make sure that your cup runneth over, meaning that it's not only full, blocking my face. It's not only full, it's overflowing. It's overflowing with goodness. You have abundance. See, it comes from a place of abundance, of love, of fulfillment, of peace, and it doesn't come from a place of lack of abundance. It doesn't come from a place of fear. It comes from abundance. If you have a lot, you can give to other people. You can help others. If you don't have enough, never mind. You're totally not capable of helping others. So you have to make sure you take care of yourself first, mentally, health-wise, emotionally. You have to make sure you place very, very specific and very strong boundaries, because a lot of people take advantage, people that are not empathic, what I call takers, and in that group I I can include, I don't want to get too technical, but people like narcissistic people, histrionic, or cluster B people, or sociopath and psychopaths. All these people that are takers and not givers, and they don't have remorse, and they don't care about others. Just all about themselves and what they can get from other people. You have to be careful, because they smell it. They're really good at determining. They can tell who's an empath, who's codependent, and they'll try to push the envelope and keep pushing the envelope and keep pushing the envelope and keep pushing and pushing until there's nothing else to push. These are the type of people that take advantage of you, and because they know you love helping others, and the way that you love helping others. So you the type of person that never says no, that you say yes to everything. You go always the extra mile for everyone else. So they like, oh, so and so, she's totally, she's a total doormat. Like, she will do anything you tell her to do. You ask her for a favor, she will do it for you. She'll die. She loves, helping others and giving information, blah blah blah. Totally go to her. She'll do it for free. She'll drop anything that she's doing just to go and help you. So go for her. She'll totally help you. So this type of people, they notice that you have no boundaries. You're codependent. They come to you just to suck you dry and to take advantage of you. And like I say, if you don't put any boundaries, they're gonna suck you dry until there's nothing left of you. And when there's nothing left of you, guess what? They're going to be bye bye, next, and they're going to move on to the next target, to the next victim. You're disposable to them. You're not of service anymore. They have nothing to get from you because they already got everything. So that's why you need to place. First of all, you have to have a very healthy and strong ego, and you have to know yourself. You have to be very in tune with yourself, with your core values, with your personality, with your character, with your moral compass. You have to be emotionally regulated. This issue, this empath versus codependent issue, it's mainly rooted in emotional dysregulation. So when people are emotionally dysregulated, meaning that their emotions are completely out of whack, you don't know what's up and what's down, you don't know who you are, you come from a place of trauma and pain and fear and insecurities, pretty much you're a mess. Emotional dysregulation is when you are a total mess, emotionally, psychologically, physically. I mean, in every aspect of your life, you're very dysregulated in some form, shape, or form. So when you're emotionally dysregulated, it's really easy to fall into the codependency game, and allowing people to come into your life to abuse you, to use you, to take advantage of you. So that's why emotional regulation is so important. And in order to achieve emotional regulation, you have to practice. First of all, I recommend therapy, going to a professional therapist, a licensed LMFT, a licensed marriage and family counselor, or a clinical psychologist, whichever you can find in your area. Let me drink some water. I recommend to find professional help so they can teach you the tools of how to learn who you are, and the tools to help you to regulate your emotions in a very healthy way. So that way you can realize, oops, I've been doing this my whole life, and no wonder I always end up in abusive relationships, and or with the wrong type of friends. They're not really friends. Friends just use me and abuse me, and once they can't get anything else from me, they just ditch me, and move to the next target. So in order to find emotional regulation, I mean, besides, like I said, going to a professional, you have to practice what I call, excuse me, sorry. And you have to start with emotional recognition. You have to recognize, I talk about, the light and the dark side, about the shadow work from Carl Jung, and the light. The shadow is, all of our thoughts and emotions are very uncomfortable and what we deem to be negative and bad, and yeah, uncomfortable things that don't make us feel good. So once you learn to recognize those feelings, so I have a process called recognition, validation, emotional literacy, and emotional regulation. That's how so you start with emotional recognition. You recognize a certain feeling. You're like, okay, I feel this way. Just recognize it. That's it. Then with time, when you become more comfortable with it, then you validate those emotions and those thoughts. And then from that, you're going to move to emotional literacy. You're going to become a highly emotionally intelligent person, and very literate about your emotions, very aware of and in tune with your emotions and your thought process and your core values and your ego and everything. So that's a good thing. And that emotional literacy is going to lead you to emotional regulation. So your emotions are going to be regulated. They're going to be cool, chill, normal. You're going to be aware of your surroundings, aware of yourself, and that's going to protect you. That's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you have a very happy, healthy, functional life. Like I said, when you're emotionally regulated, you realize that boundaries are needed. You're like, okay, I draw a line here, buddy. Like, I love you, I care about you, I want to help you, but you're crossing that line, and I'm sorry, I can't I can't help you anymore. Here's where I crossed the line. I'm your friend, I love you, or your family member, or whoever, whatever the case may be. They can be a friend, a family member, whatever, or even a stranger, that you meet at some, like a support group. Um, yeah, you want to be kind and compassionate and loving and caring, but not stupid. You don't want to be codependent. You don't want to be. You want to make sure you place boundaries. You want to make sure your boundaries are well established and really strong, because otherwise people keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because that's how we prove how much we can get away with, how much we can push, how much we can get from people. Humans keep pushing and pushing to see, okay, where this person's going to say stop. So that's why you have to be very aware and in tune with your emotions and your ego and your character and your core values and your boundaries, so that way you protect yourself and protect others too. So empathy, totally cool, in tune with others' emotions. Codependency comes from a place of fear, a place of trauma, a place of emotional dysregulation, and a place of fixing. You feel like you have to fix people. You feel you have to rescue them. You have to make sure you make them happy and they're comfortable and happy and safe, and you put their comfort and their happiness over yours, which is insane. Insanity is insane. But a lot of people do that. I used to be that person. I used to be extremely codependent. And the thing is, like, we feel that by helping and rescuing people and fixing people, because we don't want them to suffer, we want them to be happy and be comfortable all the time. We think that by fixing or trying to fix people, which it's a lie we make up in our heads. It's impossible to fix people. People fix themselves. People help themselves. People save themselves. No one's going to save you. You have to save yourself. They have to learn how to help themselves and how to save themselves. So that's a lie that we make up in our head, that we're able to fix and save people. No, we're not. We can help, we can give advice, we can guide, we can provide guidance, but we cannot force people to do shit they don't want to do. Period. As simple as that. You will do whatever you want to do. I cannot force you to do anything. I just can tell you, hey, I have these tools, I can give you guidance. It's up to you if you want to fix yourself, help yourself, and save yourself. It's not up to me. That's what we have to learn. And I learned that the hard way. Throughout many years of suffering, of enduring and surviving abuse, terrible friendships, people that took advantage of me, used me and abused me. It took me a lot of suffering, a lot of research, a lot of studying, a lot of work on myself, a lot of therapy to come to this conclusion, to realize finally, the difference of being an empath and a codependent, and how, yes, I was empathic, but I was also codependent. Not anymore. I have my boundaries are very well established now, and I have a very healthy, strong ego, thank goodness. And yeah, so no more of that. But I just want to talk about that because it's really cool. It's very important to know how to protect yourself from others, and how to improve yourself. Oh, I wanted to say that, like, I totally digress. Like, we have the need of fixing other people's and make them feel comfortable and happy, because we think that by regulating or trying to regulate others' emotions, we feel that that's our way to regulate our emotions. But it's the contrary. It's the total contrary. We're not regulating our emotions. We're not even regulating their emotions. We think we are, but we're not. What we are doing is we are dysregulating our emotions that are already dysregulated. We are even more dysregulating our emotions. The more we try to, the more codependent we are, the more we try to fix and rescue and help and others other people, and the more we put ourselves in the back burner and we put other people in front of us, the more we try to do that, the worse it gets, the more emotionally dysregulated we become. So yeah, that's I wanted to say that that urge, that urge that codependent people have of fixing and rescuing and protecting, it's just a fake way of regulating our emotions and your emotions, but in reality what we're doing is dysregulating our emotions. And lastly, I wanted to say, emotions, thoughts, feelings, they're normal. They're total normal states of mind that we as humans, we're supposed to feel and to learn how to navigate, to learn how to process them, and to learn how to just sit with them and just, until they pass. It's a total natural thing. And in our society, we're indoctrinated, we're taught to not only to people please and to put ourselves, last, but we're indoctrinated to feel that emotions are bad, negative thoughts are bad, you bad, shame on you, bad girl, bad boy. No, you don't think that, you don't say that, you don't feel that, no. Emotions are our body's way of telling us there's something's up. Like pain, when you have a pain somewhere in your body, or some type of discomfort, that's our body, that's the way our bodies communicate to us. That's how our bodies tells us, hey, I think there's something wrong. You want to go check. You want to go get checked because I think there's something going on. Something's up, girl. I don't know. I'm just telling you. Woo-hoo. And then sometimes, then that's when the pain gets more intense and intense and intense. It's because it's our body telling us, hey, pay me attention. There's something going on here. So that's like when we get alert and we get like, oh shit, something's wrong. Like I need to go to the ER like right now. So the same thing with emotions and thought, and and how we process thought and yeah, thoughts and feelings, emotions are totally okay and normal to have. That's how we experience the world. That's how we experience life. That's how we learn from the world, and that's how we learn from ourselves and from from life. So that's totally okay. It's okay to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel anxious, to feel depressed, to be in pain. It's those feelings are absolutely normal, and we need to learn to be okay with that. We need to learn that other people have to experience that. It's okay for them to feel uncomfortable and sad and angry and anxious and depressed. It's normal. And instead of trying to fix it and rescue, we just have to, of course, offer love, compassion, kindness, and understanding and empathy, but make sure that you're not trying to fix that person and trying to keep that person from feeling those uncomfortable feelings, because that's not functional. It's not good. They have to learn how to cope feeling those feelings. They have to learn how to sit, with those feelings and just feel them, process them, and stay there until they go away. And they will go away eventually. They will always pass. Always. You're not going to feel that forever. Yeah, if you're going through grieving, if you lost a loved one, yeah, your grieving process can last for a long time. It's people, everyone's different. Everyone deals with grief differently. But it's okay. It's normal. And it's okay to look for help, to ask for advice or guidance. But it's not okay to want people to cuddle you and to overprotect you and to keep you from feeling what you're supposed to feel. It's okay to look for help, professional help, absolutely. but you need to learn how to feel your feelings and your negative thoughts, and to cope with that, and to just be totally cool and chill with that. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about this because I think it's very important. I see a lot of people with codependency issues. I was one of those people, not anymore, thank goodness, and thanks to the hard work that I have done on myself throughout the years. But yeah, so I see that a lot, especially in support groups, community, on family members, friends. I'm not talking about specifically me, I'm talking about in general. Like I know a lot of people, you know, I have tons of acquaintances, friends, family members, whatever, and I belong to like several support groups, so I see that a lot. You know, a lot of codependent people, a lot of empathic people, a lot of takers, like narcissistic people, kind of sociopathic people, yeah, cluster B. I want to say cluster B because I want to include everything. I don't want to pinpoint anyone in particular, because most of these people have like a combination of these different types of personality disorders. But pretty much cluster B folks. Cluster B, for the ones that don't know, it's people that it's a category in the psychology world. You have cluster A, B, and C. Cluster B is like the most popular and the most dangerous because in the cluster B category, there's people with narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and I'm missing one. Oh, antisocial personality disorder, which it's people that have psychopathy and sociopathy. So cluster B folks, I see a lot of cluster B folks in a lot of those groups. And then you have people that are very cluster, I would say C, A, B, C, D. I can't remember what cluster we belong to, but the cluster of where people are like, you know, very anxious, very dependent, clingy, and yeah. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your precious time. Thank you so much for your attention. I know how hard it is to stay tuned in this lengthy type of videos, but it's a really important information that I want to give you guys and share with you. And that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, remember, practice gratitude. Practice gratitude because extremely important. It helps you with perspective, with inner peace, with inner joy. It helps you with emotional regulation. It helps you to see the world in a different way. It's a beautiful skill to cultivate. It changes how you view the world, and it helps you to be a more at peace and fulfilled and happy person in general. So as always, stay strong and stay metal. Metal! Yeah, stay metal, guys. Thank you so much for everything. I love you and see you soon. Stay